Welcome back once again to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ. I am your host. Tonight's discussion is regarding morality and the narcissist and how exactly that would work. Well, this type of question typically comes up among those who have been involved with such a character. Typical example that would drive someone to have this question would be if you met your narcissist friend, partner, whatever it was, and early on expressed your value system basically by making a statement like, let's just use lying, for example. You just met this person in school and you're upset about something and they're like, what's wrong? And you start off with, oh, my best friend, I just found out she lied to me. Oh, I hate it when people lie. Oh, I'm so mad. Well, this person is likely to be like, oh, what a shame. Oh, that's terrible. She should never lie to you. And you're going to feel like someone understands. That's just a typical generic example, but let's say you end up spending more and more time with this type of person, and you remember this first impression, which indicates they've got the same viewpoint on lies that you do, but then you slowly start to uncover lies this person has told to you. And you're shocked, thinking, why would you do that? I thought we established early on that I can't stand that kind of thing, and here's this person doing it. When you confront them and say, hey, what's the deal? I thought we didn't lie, you're liable to get one of their famous retarded excuses, such as, oh, you caught me in that lie, oh, so what? I only lied so I wouldn't hurt your feelings, or something, or I don't ever lie. That one time I did. Well, that was because, and so on. You get the picture. So when you've been exposed to that kind of behavior, if you're on your own thinking, you might wonder, what kind of morality is that? This person deliberately states that lying is wrong and horrible, but then turns around and does it, and when confronted, shoves it under the rug. Well, that brings us to this topic. You might wonder, what kind of morals does this person have? I mean, I thought this person shared the same ones I did about lying to your friends, and here it's told a whopper. The truth is, the narcissist or the other cluster Bs, they have no moral compass, which means they'll do anything, everything. There's no limits as far as what they can do, as long as they can gain supply, which in your case, in this example, person saw something in you they could exploit, zeroed in on your needs when you talked about your friend lying, and they pretended to be an anti-lying person, and that brought you closer to them. It's only after several weeks that you finally, or maybe several days, you uncover or started to uncover the fact that you're being lied to by this very person. At first you won't want to believe it because you'll think, I thought we've already established there's no way this person's lying. The fact of the matter is, the narcissist is going to do what it's going to do no matter what it said to you. So if you started off talking about honesty, well, it's going to mirror that to you and act like he or she feels the same way about honesty, but then lies. Well, that's their talent, lies. Whereas a regular person, if they said to someone today, oh, I don't believe in lies, and then tomorrow they tell a big one and get caught, well, a regular non-toxic person would feel an emotion like guilt or shame or embarrassment turn bright red and be like, oh, I did say that, oh, and you did find this, oh no, but not the narcissist, oh no. Even if it's the most blatant example, in this case dishonesty you uncover, it'll be treated, oh, well, so what, well, I only did it because of. I don't lie ever, otherwise, what about what I did for you, that stuff, I can't believe you're making a big deal of it, and won't ever say, oh my goodness, I did wrong. No, this is not in the cards. Which reflects, again, the lack of a moral compass. They'll put on the mask for you and act like they share your values as far as, in this case, honesty goes. But that has nothing to do with the way they're going to behave. And if you uncover dishonesty, well, there's an excuse. So that's how they operate, and it's disgusting. You have to keep in mind, as we've said before, they don't have empathy. They don't have the guilt or the shame. They will do whatever is necessary to get whatever it is they want. And that includes telling you you're the one and only, At the same time, there are 6 other one and onlys that it's pursuing. During the same week as you won't be told about that, and you have no right to be told about it. This also explains, with this type of person, they're not able to form any type of non-superficial bond with another human being because they basically see everybody else around them as objects to be used for their purposes. In fact, if you date one and they did whatever with you, in their mind, the only function you have in this entire world is that you were once their partner and you're now called their ex. Period. You're nothing else. You're not an employee somewhere. You're not a loving father or loving mother. No, you are simply this creature's ex. And that's what they really believe. What you'll notice is if it's like early on or if it's a situation where they're not done with you yet, they still need you for something, and you do uncover, let's say, a lie at the beginning, well, many times, if they haven't gotten you hooked in yet, in those instances, you'll see what appears to be empathy. You'll get like a bouquet of roses with an "I'm sorry" or something like that, but it will be phony. It'll be superficial. And that's usually if they're, as I said, not done with you yet. Now, if it's all run its course and you figure them out in something, well, it's a whole different story. They'll just be like, so what? Who cares that I did that? Never once giving you what you're needing. You're thinking the person cares for you based on all the love bombing in the beginning, and yet here you're openly saying, I'm hurting, this is hurting, and instead of being comforted, you're being said,
Oh, so what? What about the time when you did this to me? I'm hurting from that. Blah, blah, blah.
And that's not the answer you're wanting, but that's what you get. And it just seems what you need from them and you're trying to get from them, it's the opposite that you end up getting. And the more you try, the more the opposite you get, because you think back to your prior conversations, let's say about the honesty of your friend that lied, and thought that the two of you saw eye to eye, and yet here you are with the same subject, it's just different characters playing the roles, doing the stuff, and yet it's like a foreign language to them. So what, I did that, who cares? And then if you say, but what about with my best friend? You're acting just like she. Don't you dare compare me to that person. I'm not. That's the kind of crap you hear from these people. It's disgusting, as I said. Which leaves you in a crazy-made state. Another problem that contributes to all this is when you meet a cluster B narcissist monster, timing is kind of backwards from your usual reality. You meet the narcissist person at first, you're not going to know this usually, and they're going to be on their best behavior, they're going to resemble the best friend you could ever have and all that stuff, and that is your first impression, which is very strong. First impressions, they always say, in other circumstances, are very important. Well, that applies to you too. Your first impression was this person is so caring. Well, that's what you've based your beginnings on, which led to more and more encounters with them. Well, usually all this ugly stuff occurs way after this beginning part. So what tends to happen in some of our minds is, let's say you've been seeing the person, whether it's dating or just friends or whatever, for several weeks in a row, and it just seems to be getting better and better. You just feel like you're getting closer and closer to this person. Eventually, of course, it always happens, things start to not add up correctly. Things start to look like the person's doing something to hurt you, even though if you confront them, they'll be like, oh no, you've misunderstood that, gaslight. What occurs is, after the long period goes on, well, when the cracks show and when you start to see like the manipulation or the covert abuse that occurs, which if questioned will be explained away, but still you know in your mind like there's no way even a friend would do what you did. Doesn't work if you try to tell them that. It starts to shift and you start to see like a different person. And what many of us will think is, because of this mind game, we will think that the original first impression is the real person. And if this person started these tactics of evil and lying and whatever, we may be tempted to think, oh dear, this person must have changed. Maybe it has something to do with me. And you may start doubting yourself when that's not the case. This person was phony from the beginning, but it's only later, because they can't keep their mask on forever. It's going to fall here and there. It's going to slip. And that's when you start to see the pieces of what's really under there. And of course you don't want to believe this usually, so when you see something that hints at an evil Hillary Clinton monster, you're likely to be like, oh, I'm overreacting, or what about those nice things that were done? And you'll talk yourself out of it in many cases. Plus, you don't want to think that you would be foolish enough to carry on with someone this long who's like that. So it's natural to think that for some reason this person must have changed just recently, and this behavior you're witnessing must be something new. And many of us, if we think that we can recognize this and we remember the beginning, will be tempted to try to fix it, to say, hey, look, everything was great up until this. Well, I think maybe this is happening because of that, and you try to rationalize it, and it doesn't work. They may go along with what you're saying. They may act like they agree, depending on if they need you or not for anything more, but it's just a pointless, futile exercise in nonsense, because what you're not getting is that the person you think that is so great that was real is actually the fake one. And the little slip-ups here and there are representative of the real creature underneath the mask. And that's what's scary. Hopefully this information helped you to understand if you've had to deal with such a creature. Because if you say to them, you have no morals, you have no values, they're of course going to say, oh, that is not true. But the actions speak louder than the words. You know in your mind if someone is doing something blatantly wrong compared to what they've said before. So just keep in mind, if it's gone, you are better off. Peace.
Listen, Goyam, I've got one last confession to give you. I know from your previous questions, all of you ex-targets of mine, you all want closure. Whatever the fuck that is. I've noticed with several of you, when I finally decide on my own that I've found my next target project, and I release you, I expect you simply to say okay and go away. But so many of you don't do that, which is part of my specialty, which works in well with the role I've already written up for you to my new lover, that you're the crazy, evil, obsessive ex, and you always seem to fulfill your role, especially with what I brainwashed them with, and what you say, it's like brilliant. When you do manage to get me alone after I've discarded you, all of you, this is to all of you out there, it's a common thread. You all are so desperate to know why or how I could do such a thing. How could I be so hateful after all we've been through together and all that? Well, honey, let me tell you. When you sit me down and specifically ask a particular question about this or that detail, I'm sure you've noticed that the responses I give probably are pretty retarded. Hence the reason you keep asking. I just wish you would forget it and move on. Many times, several of you, ex-targets of mine, have sit me down and you've said, but wait, you had said this specifically, but then you did that specific, and I gave you responses. So you think you're perfect? Why do you think you have to put me down? Never mind that I spent 6 months prior telling you exactly how I would never betray you ever, but that's old, fake news by this point. Well, if you pinned me down enough times, you probably figured out what I would never tell you. I'm retarded. My excuses don't add up. My reasons have no logic to them. And I know all this. So that is why I deliberately try to not have that conversation with you. And if you tried, I would roll my eyes. There you go again, putting me down. Which is my cop-out, because the fact is you're right. Nothing I did or said made sense. I picked and chose from different movie stars' dialogue. I didn't know what I was saying. I was just trying to get through the social situation. So, give me a break. And don't expect too much. You do ask too much. After all I did for you, I was the best thing that ever happened to you. Never mind, it was fake, but you didn't need to know that.